Hi guys, what's up? Toboloco here, and as you can see from the title, we're not going to be playing the World Cup game today. We're going to be I'm going to be explaining why I think it is the best game EA Sports has put out ever. Ever. Like, over every single FIFA ever. From the modern FIFAs to the absolute classics. I think that the 2010 World Cup game is the best, and I'm going to be telling you why it is the best in this video. Hopefully, I haven't got a script or anything like that. I'm just going off of my passion for it and my love for the game, because I feel like it is like genuinely a masterpiece in terms of football games and tournament games and sports games. You know, you could talk about masterpieces in sports games. You know, you could be talking about like NBA 2K. You know, that's another game what I hold in a high regard back in the day of 2K11, 2K10 and 2K12. But anyway, I'm going off track. So to start off, I'm going to say that yes, I have played other FIFAs. You know, I have played other FIFAs that are just, you know, normal FIFAs, you know, vanilla FIFA when it came out. You know, I started on FIFA 03 and then I went on to 04, 5, 6. But, and I only really did career mode on those or play against my friends. But it wasn't until the 2006 World Cup game when it came out, I was just like, damn, this game is good. Like, the presentation of it was just immense compared to what I've seen on other FIFAs. You know, you got to learn about other countries that you didn't really know of. Remember, when that game came out, I was still in school, and they didn't teach you about countries and stuff like that, and I had a fascination with different countries and stuff. But the 2006 World Cup game, it didn't really have enough countries. It only had like maybe, I want to say around about 80 to 100, possibly, maybe a little bit more on that game. But it was still good, you know, it still captured the atmosphere of the German hosted World Cup. You know, it was good graphics, especially if you got it on Xbox 360, because that was a new bit of technology back then, and it looked fantastic. It looked fantastic. You know, you had the silhouettes of fans, if you like, in the crowd. It wasn't really, you know, like as good as 2010, but still. And you even had some managers in there. I'm digressing from the actual point of the video, because talking about 2010. The 2010 World Cup game was something different to 06 and 14, its predecessor after it. So, 2010 World Cup game. Now, this game was coming out around when I was in probably about college, I'd say, or just like starting off college. And yeah, I remember the demo dropped for it, and it was random because I didn't even know the demo had dropped for it. I was around my mate's house, he was like, oh look, a new FIFA, and I was like, what? And it was a demo, and it was only Italy versus Spain, I remember. I think that was the only two teams you could play as, and it was in the Durban Stadium, and I remember playing it first time, and EA did this very clever thing of, like, you know, they put you in a match, obviously, and you had all the features in there, but in the menu you had the globe. And I remember the first thing about the globe is, like, you see all these countries and you're like, oh my god, I can actually play as Tanzania, or I can actually play as Hong Kong, or, you know, I can actually play as San Marino. And that's what draws me into it. I love international football in a tournament, because, you know, you get different cultures coming together and it's very competitive, and, you know, you want to beat certain nations and blah blah blah. You know, I can go off on a whole different video about that. But anyway, that was awesome. Seeing that globe and just seeing all the different countries you have. But EA teased it. They were all locked behind, you know, the demo. You couldn't play it. You could only play as Italy and Spain, arguably the two best nations on the game, but still, you could only play as Italy and Spain. And I played that demo for so long, just doing the same match over and over again, you know, being Italy, being Spain, being Italy, being Spain, and seeing who I score with, you know, looking at the cutscenes and seeing the managers on the sideline. I was like, this is so colourful and so bright, and the fans were there as well, and it was just awesome. And then the game finally came out just before the World Cup in 2010. I remember I had a day off from college, and I literally played it into the ground that day. Played it into the ground. I got it home, I drove into the store and got it, brought it back, and it was just like, it was just awesome. I fired it up and I was doing different matchups each time. I was like, England versus Wales, now Germany versus like England. Now North Korea versus South Korea, or Lebanon versus Palestine. Now Palestine versus Israel, and you know, all those different matchups. You know, USA versus Japan, USA versus, you know, and every nation you played as had sort of like a different personality on the field. In like, you can feel it when you play it. Even now when I play it right now, it has a different personality, different formations and all that stuff, you know. Like, you know, some nations are slow and sluggish and some nations are speedy, but it's not just in terms of on the field that the nations have different personality. I'm talking about the fans as well. If you're playing in like South African stadiums, like in the actual World Cup, you'll see your fans on the sidelines, like I've talked about, and that's where I think that this game really shines. It's the personality of the game. You have like the fans on the sidelines, which are the camera's constantly cutting away, and you're seeing the fans dancing and stuff. But it's not just like, it is the same generic set of fans, but they're modelled differently to each nation. It's not just continental as well, it's actually a country different. So like, I don't know, like in Sweden they'll be wearing like sometimes they'll wear like a Viking hat, which is very stereotypical, but still they would, you know. And then you got like, I don't know, in England you got your proper like lad with your cap on and like your t-shirt and your jeans and stuff, and then you got the Caribbean nations and they're wearing like, the women are wearing like next to nothing, and you know, you get that in World Cups, do you know what I mean? Like, it's very carnival atmosphere and stuff, you know. Maybe what I say may be stereotypical, but it's true, it happens in the game. And you know, even like North Korea have their fans there as well. They're not quite how they're perceived and what they were in real life, you know, the Chinese actors, if you get what I mean. But you know, it's still nice to see it. It's still nice to see it. It adds personality to the game. And also, some nations that had qualified as well had their managers as well, had their fully licensed kit as well, which really helped as well. Obviously fully licensed teams as well. Some managers on the sideline as well, alongside the crowd, they react to every goal, every miss, every, you know, everything. You know, if the ball goes out of play, if there's a mistake, a bad tackle or something, they react to it. And that's what I think that makes the game, like the personality. It gives off the real personality of what a World Cup would be like. I feel like EA captured the magic of a World Cup so well. It's almost like they caught lightning in a bottle in that game, for me anyway. Like, it's just a perfect mixture of everything that you could see in a World Cup in a game, and I think they did a tremendous job with it. Like I said, the managers were really good as well, and it's not just in South Africa as well, but you even got the, like I said, like the vuvuzelas as well. I forgot to mention that, the vuvuzela as well. You can turn it off or turn it on, but I always have it on because it's, you know, if you're doing a qualification run, it's just great to get to a World Cup and hear that vuvuzela, the deafening sound of just the vuvuzela, the droning of it. So I already said about the managers adding personality and the crowd adding personality as well, but what I think that makes it even more personal is when you're doing a qualification run, the stadiums are different, the backdrop of the stadiums are different as well. I think the main thing I'm trying to put into it is that EA spent so much effort trying to like craft this like experience for you. Even the commentary is different. Like, when you're doing an actual World Cup, sometimes you'll get different commentary. So say if you play as England, they'll commentate and go, England have never got this like far for a while, they haven't been this far for about 50 years or whatever, like if you get to the World Cup final or whatever. Or if you play as North Korea, the commentators will get slightly more concerned every time they get a round closer to World Cup glory. They say something on the lines of like, oh, I can't believe what North Korea may finally achieve that world domination that they've always been looking for, you know, stuff like that, you know. And they bring up history of the side sometimes, even though it's 2010, you know. 2010, you think of 2010 technology, it was very kind of basic, you know. For you had the Xbox 360 compared to what we got now and what FIFA 21 could do now, but it never does. It doesn't do it. You know, I think EA really captured the magic of that World Cup in that game, because obviously you can make your own history, you can make your own World Cup, and that you had most of the nations in there, bar, you know, maybe about 5 or 6 nations I think were like missing in that one. Obviously 2014 brought in a few more nations, but they still didn't have all of them, and I know that's a licensing issue and stuff like that, and you know, like EA had to go through certain channels and that, and it's great that they actually did as much as they did, because you know, not every nation was actually properly licensed. Because all you needed with like an unlicensed, slightly unlicensed team was like maybe like, for example, the Cook Islands, you know, they play in green. So EA basically put their crest on a green kit, boom, done, Cook Islands. And it's just like, yeah, I really appreciate that, because even though you're playing as them and you know that there's a possibility they might be unlicensed, the commentators still say, oh, here come the Cook Islands now, or the Cook Islands take the lead or whatever. And it's just that authenticity that new FIFA games may miss, and I think that future World Cup games will miss. So I really hope this video has explained how much I love this game and why I think it is one of the best games. I tried to explain it as much as I can without a proper script, because I didn't want a script, because I didn't want to feel like I was reading off a bit of paper. I wanted to speak from, you know, the mind and I guess the heart about it, my passion for it. You know, I love international football. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed my ranting, I guess, and you know, my long-winded explanation of why the 2010 World Cup game is one of EA's greatest accomplishments. If you did like it, then hit the like button and subscribe. Keep it loco, and I'll see you again for the next video.